Now we have this from the New York Post. Mark Zuckerberg spent $419 million on nonprofits ahead of the 2020 election and got out the Dem vote.
And they're really not very grateful for that, I don't think.
No.
They're with the combination of antitrust and this Frances Haugen type regulation.
I don't, there's a conspiracy theory that she's working with Facebook, that she's a fake whistleblower because she's saying everything Zuckerberg has already said. People need to understand this. Mark Zuckerberg came out and said, please provide us with regulation so we can deal with this. Now, all of a sudden, a whistleblower comes out, instantly verified on Twitter. Oh, come on. And then tomorrow I'll be in Congress.
And then Facebook releases a statement and guidelines about how the internet should be censored.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, they do kind of like, they would rather be in a world where they're in control of regulation. I wouldn't be surprised if there's like some sort of collusion going on there. But that said, the antitrust stuff is no joke. That stuff is actually going forward, and it's not helpful to Zuckerberg.
How are they planning that? What are they doing?
I mean, there's serious there's already they're looking at a bipartisan law that's more targeted at Amazon, not allowing you to preference your own products. They're still talking hard about breakup and making Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp divest. So
but what does that do?
I mean, it's bad for Zuckerberg personally,
yeah,
right? Like, does it do that much? I don't know. I mean, they're all still leftist companies. I think, it's sort of interesting to see it. I mean, whenever I talk about like, let's make platform access a civil right, I get the objection from the libertarians like, oh, you're using government to violate a corporation's liberty. It's like, okay, but that corporation is colluding with the government to violate your liberty.
And I don't care for corporations are people, my friend. It's amazing how it's like the Democrats became the party of Mitt Romney.
Those are usually Koch brother libertarians, and a lot of them don't understand how big tech is working with the state in tandem, making it not a private company. There's no argument. I don't believe that they're private companies. There's no way.
Yeah.
Not even from their start, not even from their beginning,
CIA
not
book.
even what they're doing now when it comes to the programs that they're running and the larger participation that they have in our political system. They're not innocent corporations that are a part of the free capitalistic world. They're not.
Yeah, it's very formalist, right? They're sort of like, if informal government coercion is okay in libertarian world, it seems like you think about like the vaccine mandate debate, right? Libertarians are like, you're violating a business's liberty if you tell them they can't enforce a vaccine mandate. It's like, well, like look at a company like Southwest, who is clearly talking with the Biden administration regularly. Biden administration's going to them like, we think really strongly that you should impose a vaccine mandate. Then they do. So basically, it's like the formal exercise of state power by a state government saying no vaccine mandates is like the only answer to the informal exercise of state power by the Biden administration to persuade these corporations to impose the mandates in the first place.
I think this is why a lot of the Libertarian Party doesn't like the Mises Caucus, because they're getting serious about it.
Yeah.
But the core of the Libertarian Party has always pretty much been, we are not smart enough to recognize the government is in control of these corporations, and therefore the corporations should be free to do what they do, even though it's detrimental to everybody. It's like, libertarians should be against centralized authority regardless of where it comes from. A major corporation can oppress anybody the same as a government.
That's a great way to phrase it.
Yeah,
Centralized authority is the antithesis of libertarianism.
Absolutely. I don't understand how you can be like a naturally, a spontaneously formed over 200 years organization of very powerful individuals with massive amounts of wealth and resources controlled in an authoritarian structure is a good thing that should be left alone. However, the same exact thing with the label on it says government. Now that's where the problem comes in. It's like, it's remarkable to me how many of these libertarians are okay with being coerced and forced to walking off the cliff, as opposed to, I should say, coerced or manipulated into doing it versus hard force.
Yeah.
They're like, well, if the government or if a company convinces you to hurt yourself, that's fine. No, I don't agree with that.
That's what I mean by like overly formalist, right? It's like they look at like, is this a formal exercise of government power or not? If it is, bad. If it's not, okay, that's fine.